The air smelled like fake pine and warm plastic. Cold lights blinked, out of rhythm, like an eye with a twitch. A carol cut out mid-chorus, leaving a silence that didn't belong to December. Footsteps didn't match my own. My phone buzzed like a trapped insect. AirTag found moving with you. Holiday cheer turned into an empty storefront, and I knew someone, somewhere, already knew where I was going. It was late November 2024. I was 18 and had been walking the Walden Galleria in Buffalo for hours. Victoria's Secret, Zara, Sephora, 3 bags digging little crescents into my fingers. I sat on a bench near the giant tree the mall puts up every year. Carols echoed off glass and tile. Stores were shuttering one by one. He sat beside me, older, thin, a washed-out Santa Claus. He cracked a joke. I laughed politely. He said he'd been coming to this mall since it opened and was scared it would shut down. "You look like my daughter," he added, showing me a photo, a girl about 18 who looked like neither of us. I stood, smiled, said goodbye. I didn't look back. Home was 10 minutes away in a cul-de-sac with 2 other big houses and a grassy roundabout of trees. Just before the driveway, my phone vibrated. AirTag found moving with you. Every muscle went cold. Instead of pulling in, I circled the roundabout and rolled down the street. I triggered the AirTag sound. The beeping came from my Sephora bag. I dug in and pulled out the little white disc, nausea rising like heat. I tossed it out the window, U-turned, and went home. Garage down, door locked. I called my brother Cody. "If anyone shows up, call me," he said. Stone cold for 2 words. Then the alcohol returned to his voice. The doorbell rang. 3 hard knocks followed. I tiptoed to the foyer. A shape through the textured glass. "Hey, Ashley, I think you have my AirTag," a man's voice said. Him, the mall Santa. He claimed he dropped it by accident. I said nothing. Accident or not, he'd followed me. That was the only truth. I called Cody again, turned on the TV to bruise the silence. Something shifted at the edge of my vision. Nothing there. I tried to believe he'd left. Then the same voice, right outside the living room window. I love it when they play dumb. I looked up and he was pressed to the glass, smiling, tapping a single finger. "Don't pretend you don't know I'm watching you." My hands shook so badly I could barely hit 911. I hid in the windowless office. Minutes later, I heard Cody's car. By the time he burst in, the man had vanished. The officer found nothing. No prints, no tracks in the yard. He gave me a report number, suggested contacting Apple. I tried the next day. The process was a maze of policies and forms. Weeks passed without a trace. But sometimes I see that photo in my mind and pray the girl on his phone wasn't real, wasn't someone he'd found, followed, kept. I pray she was just a stolen image and nothing more. My name is Claire. This didn't happen yesterday, but it hasn't faded either. I'd moved to a mid-sized city for a promotion. Tuesday evening, a soft podcast, 15 minutes of small-town traffic. My phone buzzed. AirTag found moving with you. I told myself it was a mistake. Maybe someone's keys nearby. I opened the alert. It had been moving with me for over an hour. My blood ran out of me. I parked, checked the back seat, the glove box, the trunk. Nothing. The logic was simple and brutal. If I couldn't find it, it could find me. And if it could find me, someone else could too. I went upstairs anyway. The building had decent security. You can't undrive home. That night, sleep was made of splinters. Morning, work, the notification again. I ignored it and got nothing done. That evening, I tore my car apart with my hands. When my fingers slid into the seam where the seat met the backrest, they hit something. I already knew. I carried it inside and popped the battery. A dead nickel in my palm. My hands still shook. Who did it? I scanned my history. Exes, acquaintances, half-flings. No one fit. The next night, I got home late, reached for my lock, and froze. My apartment door was standing wide open. I live alone. No one should have been there. I backed away, went to the car, called the police. They cleared the unit. No forced entry, no prints, nothing moved. A clean swipe of dread. I showed them the notifications and answered their questions. Any stalkers? Anyone with a grudge? I shook my head and felt foolish, and watched. The days quieted. I moved. The alert stopped. But the detail that gnaws is simple. The door wasn't broken. It wasn't even scratched. It was opened by a key no one else was supposed to have. I want to stay anonymous. Upper middle class suburb. Months of slow burn horror that almost ruined me. It began weeks after I broke up with my first serious girlfriend after college. We'll call her Devon. It ended ugly. My friend Zenon throws huge parties at an estate he inherited. I was there when I ran into Taylor, one of Devon's friends. She came on strong. Oddly strong. I hesitated. Not for long. We hooked up in an upstairs room. When I came out, my wallet was gone. She was gone too. I couldn't call her. I was still blocked from the breakup. Morning brought clarity. I kept an AirTag in my wallet. I opened Find My. It was active. Saturday, no work. So I drove to the Ping, a gym. As I approached, the AirTag went offline. The front desk refused to let me look around. I did a slow, humiliating lap outside, peering through glass. No Taylor. No Devon. No one I knew. I went home. The next day, it pinged a park. I hurried there. It went offline as soon as I stepped out of my car. I jogged loops like a lunatic. Nothing. The feeling that I was being observed crept up my neck and stayed. At home, I researched. Someone could be pulling the battery to flick it on and off. Whoever had my wallet was toying with me. Days of silence. I swore I was done. Then glass shattered at 2 a.m. Real fear feels like plastic over the face. I dialed 911, barricaded my bedroom door, listened to drawers open and air move. By the time the cops arrived, the intruder was gone. My laptop, monitor, a fistful of electronics, gone. Pride, gone with them. Weeks later, the AirTag pinged again, this time at a bar. I went in a hoodie, keeping my head down. Offline the moment I got close. I snapped. Accused strangers. A bouncer dragged me out and dumped me on the sidewalk. It happened again at a coffee shop. I swore I'd never open the app again. Swore for real. The knock that followed wasn't a prank. The police. Arrest warrant for stalking. Search warrant for my house. They were looking for a journal in my dresser. I told them there was no journal. They found one. Devon's case looked airtight. Photos of me at the gym, at the park, at those exact locations, the ones the AirTag had lured me to. Texts from my number to hers, weeks of harassment. Begging replies from her to stop for the sake of her mental health. And the journal. Page after page detailing her schedule and my supposed violent fantasies in handwriting that looked like mine after being run through a photocopier 100 times. Lawyers told me to consider a plea. I refused. It didn't matter. What saved me wasn't skill or courage. A guy Devin had been seeing turned himself in. He confessed she'd given him my AirTag, passed to her by Taylor after Zenon's party. His job was to draw me to public places, kill the AirTag when he spotted me, and take photos from a distance. Their texts showed more. Devin planned to plant evidence in my home. She'd made a copy of my keys when we were still together. That's why there was no forced entry during the burglary. She took my laptop, she knew my password, and planned to use it to send herself the harassing messages, then claim I'd deleted them. Breaking in once and staging a random theft was safer, she wrote, than slipping in repeatedly to send and erase messages. When it came out, everything collapsed. Charges dismissed. But damage doesn't reset to zero. Friends faltered. Family kept their distance. My name almost stuck to the internet forever. And on nights when I power down, I swear I hear a phantom ping vibrating on the nightstand. Technology doesn't breathe, but it follows. It doesn't blink, but it watches. A coin-sized disc can turn a joke into a chain and a suspicion into a sentence. Sometimes the monster doesn't knock. It already has a key. Sometimes it leaves no tracks in the snow. It walks across your carpet. If your phone ever vibrates with those words, AirTag found moving with you, don't shrug it off. Check under the seat. Check the lock twice. And when you kill the lights, remember, the scariest thing isn't the face in the window. It's the smile that stops reflecting when you look away. For more true stories that cling to the skin, subscribe to Hidden Fears. Leave one light on, kill the sound, and listen to whatever's already following you.